Okay, YouTube fans, this is Mr. Smith Sandite, mentor with some of my friends here working on graphing today. And so we have an assignment. You can set that down. And I'll take it from you. We're working on graphing numbers. And the way we do this is that we're given a list of a bunch of different numbers, and you don't know if you can make this out or not, but all of these numbers represent a place on a graph. And whenever we're finished, and my Sandite friend here has already started, this graph is going to look like something, we hope, at least. That's the whole goal. Is that right? Sandite, buddy?
Yes.
Okay, so you keep on going, and I'm going to tell our friends how we graph. So I'm just going to make two lines, a line right there, and a line right there. And again, I wore my bracelet, and I'm sorry for that. So a lot of people don't like to hear the noise. Okay, so you keep on going. And I'm just going to explain this. In graphing, we have two x's. We have the x-axis. See if I can get that in the picture here. And we have the y-axis. And then each line is separated into different segments. And everything that is going to be to the left of this center where the two lines intersect are going to be negative numbers. Starting with the first one, be -1, and then -2, -3, -4, and so on. And on the other side, there's going to be equal amounts of lines too, and those are going to be positive numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can already guess that there's going to be segments going up, and there's going to be segments that are going down. So if we're going up, they're going to be positive numbers. First, starting with the intersection, be 1, 2, 3, 4. You doing all right, Sandite, buddy? Is that a yes?
Yes.
And then going down on the y-axis, we'll have a -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on. So another thing that you might need to know, it might ask what quadrant it is in. Starting from the top right would be quadrant 1, and then kind of think of it as a big capital C. The upper left would be quadrant 2. Below that would be quadrant 3. And then to the right of that, and the last one would be quadrant 4. So that kind of gives you the basis of the graphs. And of course, if you look at graph paper, and can I borrow yours, Sandite friend, for just a second? So if you're looking at graphing paper, and I'll try to hold this so that you can see it. They have lines that go all the way across. And if you're given a number, or actually two sets of numbers, that tells you where on the graph that it goes. And that's how my Sandite friend got to where he is now on this. So if you're given a number, let's say, for instance, they want you to graph a -2, and then there's going to be a comma, and let's say 3, a +3. and usually you'll see that in parentheses. So to find -2, -3, first we start with the x-axis, the one that's going left to right, and we go in the negative direction 2 places. So I would go 1, 2, and then I'd just kind of hold that spot, and then I'd go in the positive direction, which is up, which would be 3. And if I were to graph -2, 3, it would be approximately right there. So let's say that they give us 2 negative numbers. Let's say they give us a -3 and a -3. Remember, you do the x-axis or this straight across line first. So I go to -3, kind of hold my spot, which is right there, and then I find the -3, which would be down, and then I put my dot there. And then in the case that my friend is doing, he has got a whole paper full of places that he has to graph. Every one of those he's going to put a dot on. And all he does is graph the particular numbers, the 2 sets of numbers, and then he connects those 2 lines. For instance, if in our paper, if -2, 3, and then the next one -3, 3, we would take a straight edge and we would just connect those. And then we would do it until it says stop, or we finish the paper. So that's pretty much all there is to graphing. It's not that difficult. The x-axis and the y-axis can go to, let's say yours goes to 17, I guess 18 on the y-axis.
It goes to 18.
And then what on the x-axis, 14?
13.
13? Okay. So there'd be a multitude of numbers. One question that I've been asked several times is, what if I'm given a decimal? What if I'm given like a 4.5 and then the next number, let's say, is a 2? And you're going to find that in parentheses. Well, 4.5, what I'm going to do is hold a space in between 4 and 5, 4.5 being in between 4 and 5, and then I would come up and I would, where I intersect my line for number 2, and I would put a dot. And so graphing decimals shouldn't complicate much. Can you think of anything else, Sandite buddy, that we might need to talk about? No? If you have a big list of numbers that my friend is doing, be sure and put a little mark by one of the last number that you graphed. And that way you don't lose your place. Because it's very important to be sure and keep your place. And you can see where he's put little marks. And so if he were to quit for the day, he would know that he would have to pick up at this point right here. That would be another suggestion that I would have. But other than that, that's all there is to it. Remember, the first number in the paired is the x-axis, which runs this direction, left and right. It's the x-axis. And the y-axis is the second number, which is up and down. And that's any time that you're graphing. So I hope this has helped somebody out there. If you have any questions, send me an email or a comment or something like that. Ask any question. I'll try to help you the best I can. And unless my Sandite friend here has anything to add, we'll put an end to this video. Nothing to add?
I'll say when you graph and you have to put it in the half, you have to make sure to get it directly in there.
Okay, so that's a good point. So what my friend is saying is that if you're doing a half, make sure you get it exactly right in half, right in the middle.
Instead of like over here and ended up in the exact 9, but it has to be directly in there.
It's got to be directly in the middle, and that's a good point. So I'm going to sign out, and I appreciate it to all my Sandite friends.
See you next time.
See you next time. Like, subscribe, and otherwise we'll see you at school. Have a good day.